So hello everyone, I welcome you to the day 1 editorial of our task 1 of mobile development challenge. So first task was this. We had to implement a splash screen uh, and wait for 5 seconds and then redirect to home page. And one thing to note here was the theme should be a Christmas theme and the splash screen should feature a app logo and an NIT-A text written at the bottom of the screen. So here's a sample reference of the task also. So yeah, your task should look like this. Let me minimize it. Sorry, your task should look like this, and after 5 seconds it will just navigate to home page. So let's get started to the coding part. Let's create a new folder and name it day 1. And for reference, we'll be using these 3 images here. This is for our splash screen, this is for our home page, and this is our logo, sample logo. I generated it using AI. You can do that too. So let's come here and create our starter project of Flutter. You can do that using this command, Flutter create day 1. So let's wait for a few seconds and it will create the project. So now the project has been created. Let's open it with VS Code. So now we need to upload our asset to the project. For doing that, we'll just create a new folder and we'll name it assets. So these are 3 assets. So let's upload it here. So not here. Here. So now that we have uploaded assets, we need to make our code know that we have uploaded these things. So for doing that, head over to your pubspec.yaml file. Come down here to line number 62. Uncomment this, and here it says that find this asset in the images folder. We don't have an images folder, we have an asset folder. So and we don't have this image here, we just want all the content of our asset folder to be visible. So we'll just use this notation, and you can see by doing this our assets will be automatically available for us to use in our code. So let's begin the coding part. Let's move on to this main.dart file. Here's the sample counter app made. We'll delete this because we don't want that, and we'll delete these comments as well. And now so by default this is running this app. We just leave this intact, and here this material app holds all the configuration of your Flutter project. So it tells us you have a dark color theme, or what are the themes, night mode, dark mode, all of this stuff is detailed in here. Routes also, and this home parameter here tells us that what is our home page. Whenever we run our app, what is the first page that loads on our screen. So earlier it was my home page, but we'll delete that and we'll create a new page, and we want to name it splash screen. So one thing you should follow is whenever you create a new page, create a new file for that page. Okay. So we have created a new file. Let's create a new widget here. So we'll create a stateful widget. In a moment I'll tell you why we are creating a stateful widget. But we are creating a stateful widget, and if you type stf, you will get this extension to help you. So just click enter and it will create a boilerplate code for stateful widget. Just name it splash screen. So yeah, so our splash screen is done. One thing to also note is whenever you create a page, always if you want to show a page, always create a scaffold widget inside it, inside the build folder. Build folder is something where all your painting of the UI is done. Just create a scaffold, and in the scaffold you can have many different things. It will just create a basic page for you. So I'll show you all of you that in a moment. Now we have created the splash screen. We want this screen to be the first page which opens whenever we open our app. So for that we need this splash page written here, this which it says home. So naturally we need it here. So let's name it splash. The autocorrect will always autocomplete will suggest you to make this here. So yeah, just click this and the imports will all automatically be handled by the IntelliSense. Now you have this splash screen. If you go into this, you can see that this is the same page you created. Okay, you can go here by clicking here. You can see this is the same page you have created. So now you are done. Let's test whether this is the same page or not. So in the scaffold widget, we have this property called body. This body is the body of the whole page. So let's give it text for starters and see whether we are on the right track or not. This body can have any widget, but we are just writing text for checking whether it is working or not. So now we should run this. By default you can run it on many different platforms, but I'm running it on Chrome because it would work on low-end PCs also. So let's run this. You come here, you click on run and debug, and it will start running. So let's wait for a few seconds. Let's close this. So yeah, our project is running. So when this Chrome app opens, what you should do is you right click on here, go to inspect and switch on the mobile mode, so you can give this view this stuff in mobile mode. So let me select Pixel 7 and let's remove this thing so that it's clearly visible. Yeah, all our configurations are ready. We are ready to code, and you can also see that this text we put in our splash page is visible here. That means everything is working fine. This thing always annoys me, so I'll remove it. You can do that too if you want to by coming here. Just show it as false and it will be removed. Now let's begin the designing of our splash page. So by default what we need here is we need a background image here. So there's many different ways for background image. First you can just use image.asset, but image.asset works like a widget, and you cannot have other widget on top of it without using another widget called stack. So that's a little bit complex, so I'll avoid that and show you a different method of doing the same thing and having an image on this whole page. So let's give the body as container. And by the way, this is the longer method of longer method of doing this task. There's a simpler method too. You can just come to this package, Flutter native splash, and this package lets you create a splash screen. You don't have to write any piece of code, but I want you guys to learn, so I'm showing you this longer step, but you can also follow the shorter step. So let's have a container here. A container is similar to what you see div in HTML. It lets you do many different stuff to it, and you can design it in any way you want to. So this container by default has a property called decoration, which with using which you can apply all the styling you want to it. And decoration accepts a construct object of type box decoration. So you give it box decoration, and box decoration have a property called image here. So once you type an image now, you will see you can add a decoration image, and in the decoration image you can mention the image you put here in the assets folder. So I want here, this image is an asset. It's not downloaded over from the network. So I want here an asset. So I will use this widget called asset image and just specify the path of the image here. So the path is, let me show you, assets slash, and the name of this file image.jpg. So image.jpg. Okay, so once you do this now, your image will be visible. Okay, so there must be some mistake, that's why giving us an error. So the name is not image, but it's just image. Yeah, should worry about whether. So yeah, our image is now visible, but you can see these ends are, you know, visible too, because this image is not fitting properly in our device screen size. We don't want that. We want our image to fit exactly and completely cover the whole screen. So for doing this, we'll use the fit property. It's available in the image here. It's a property of decoration image. You can see here also fit. So we'll just put the fit property. Sorry, and we give it the fit of type cover. So what cover does is basically it tells us to fill the whole screen, but in a better way, so that the contents are not stretched or anything else. So once I use this, you'll see that this image is property filled. Now what I also want is to give the width to this container so that the width doesn't change, and you can give that. I want this width to be equal to the device's width. So if you are familiar with CSS media queries, we can use them here too. So media query dot off context dot size dot width. This gives me the device width, the whole the width of this device which I'm using, and it sets it to the container's width, so we can set the image to the whole container without having any trouble. So now you can see my image is fine. Let's add a logo here and add a text here. So for doing that, we want a column like structure so that we can have something here also and we can have something here also. So in the container, we can have a child which will hold a child widget. Child widget can have a column, and by default columns have children, so that we can put multiple widgets inside them. So we can put they have children here, so we can put multiple widgets inside them and they will display one by one so that we can use them. Let's see, it will have children, and children will have, first let's see whether it's working fine or not. So if you put a text here, and text will just say hi. So whether it's working or not, yeah, it's working. If you put another text here, if you just take this text and we just put another text, this, see, since it's a column, it's arranged in this way, so you can understand how columns are working. We don't want a column here, we want a logo here. So there's another way to show images in Flutter, and since this image is just for showing and not we don't want anything to display on top of them, that's why we are using this another property, another widget called image.asset. And using this, you can show any image that you have here. You don't have to make a container and put the image in decoration part. You can just use them as it is. So just type the name assets. It should be in double quotes, asset slash logo.png. That's the name of our image. You see, this is our logo, but it's too big, right? So for that, we need to change the size, and when you want to give size to any widget in Flutter, use a size box. It's exactly for that very purpose. And when you give wrap it with size box, by the way, you can wrap any widget just selecting this, click on this light bulb, and it will give you these options to perform any actions with the widgets you have selected. Now this size box has a property called width and height. Let's provide them. I want a width of 150. I want a height of 150. You see, our logo looks a little bit better here. Let's give it a padding from top, padding also, so that it comes a little bit down. So you can also do it in the similar fashion. Just select this, click on this light bulb, wrap it with padding, and I want a padding of 28 from all sides. You see now, yeah, it's a bit down, so now it's not looking like it's on top of that, so it's good. Now I want a text called NIT at the bottom, so let's write a text here. Text NIT Agartala and save, and we can see that NIT Agartala is by default shown here, but we don't want to show it here, we want to show it here. So how do we do that? For doing that, there are many ways. I can show you one such way, that is using a widget called spacer. So what this widget does now, it takes up all the available space and pushes anything that it encounters to the very bottom until it can push them. So what it does is it will push this NIT all the way to here, because it will take up all the space here. So let's use it and see if it does what we wanted to know. Yeah, we can see NIT is pushed to the bottom, but we don't want it too much at the bottom. So let's wrap it with padding 2. Click on light bulb, click on padding. Yeah, let's give it 20 as well. So save it, and you can see it's looking a little bit clean. So yeah, that's what we wanted. One more thing, that is it's a little bit small, so we want to make it bigger. So for doing this, we have a style property in text, so let's use that. Style by default accepts object of text style, so let's give it text style, and text style in return has a property called font size, so let's give it font size, and the font size is 22. Let's see if it works or not. Yeah, it's working. So all design of our splash screen is ready, and I hope you understood how we designed all this stuff. We first create a container, and the container had the background image so that we can display everything on top of that. Next up, we created a column inside the container. So this container has columns inside it, and this columns in returns has one widget and two widget. So for displaying this image, we use image.asset. We did not use this method. We could use this method too, but like this image.asset just creates a dummy image. If you wanted something inside this image to show, you could not do it without using stack widget. So that's why I use this method here. Okay, I hope you understood this. Now what we want is, after 5-second passes, the user should navigate to home page, and for that we'll need to write some logic for it, right? So in the beginning I told you that by making this a stateful widget, because we want it to have some state or some function to perform. That's only possible if this is a stateful widget. If this was a stateless widget, you could do nothing with it, and you have to know that 5 seconds have been passed and you have to navigate to the home page. So that's why we picked a stateful widget, because we wanted access to this property called init state. Now what it does is, this init state, it loads as soon as this page is loaded onto the screen. So I'll show you in a minute. Let's remove this. So what happens with Flutter is, whenever this page is loaded, first this init state is called, and after that this build function is called, and it draws all this UI onto this page. So in the init state, I'll write this logic that wait for 5 seconds and navigate to home page. So for doing that, first let's create a home page. So as I told you, whenever we want a new page, we create a home page. We don't mix pages. in the same structure. Like I could create a home page here also, but that's very wrong. It improves the readability also to keep all your pages in separate files. So let's create a new file, home page product. Sorry, home page product. Now it's correct. Let's create a stateful widget this time. So type STL. You can see stateless widget. Sorry, let's create a stateful widget this time. So yeah, now you can see we want it to be our home page. By default it's having placeholder, but like we said, every page has its own scaffold, so let's give it that. And scaffolds has a body widget, so let's give it that too. And now let's give it a text so that we know that it's working properly, then we'll design it later. So our dummy home page is ready to test. Let's write the logic so that we come here after 5 seconds. So here what we want is we want to wait for 5 seconds. So how do we do that? If you Google it, you will get the syntax, but I'll explain it to you anyway. In HTML, in JavaScript especially, you have this timer function. We have something similar here. It's called future.delayed. If you write it, if you use this function here, future.delayed, this function, if you use this, what it will do is it will wait for that many seconds that you tell it to, and then it will execute the task which you give it to. So first I'll tell it how much time should it wait. So it should wait a duration of 5 seconds. You can see that's how you should specify the duration. This is standard syntax, you should learn it. Now I need to tell it to perform this function after 5 seconds has been elapsed. So now after 5 seconds has passed, anything you write here it will do. Like if I write here int I is equal to 5, it will initialize this I as 5. If I want to change this I to something else, it will also change this I to 5 after 5 seconds has passed. So what essentially does is this page loads up on the screen, this init state is encounter, this timer starts counting 5 4 3 2 1. By default this UI also builds up in the meantime, and after 5 seconds has passed, this timer executes this function here, and we go to our home page. So how do we navigate to our home page? So for that we need to understand how navigation works in Flutter. So in Flutter, navigation works in this little stacks. For example, this is our navigator class in Flutter. Okay, navigator class in Flutter, and by default this home page wait a minute, this home page, this home is loaded on top of the stack, on top of this stack. Once you want to go to a new page, you will push this page. Okay, let's say I push this for example, for starters we have this splash page here, but we'll push the home page here. Okay, and if you want to go back, you will pop this page. That's how stacks work, and it's similar here also. So I think that should be self-explanatory. So let's wait a second. Now in this splash page, what I want to do is I want to navigate, so I will push the new home page into our stack. So for doing that, I have this navigator dot push. And what this function does is it takes a context by default. This context is the location of this widget, so that it knows that it has to push something on top of this widget. So we need this context, and second parameter it accepts is the route. So we need to give it a route also, so that it knows which route to push on the stack. By default, stacks do not hold the pages, but they hold the routes. So let's give it a route. For giving a route, this is a standard syntax. Material page route. It has this builder function here. So what this builder function does is it accepts the context of its own, but we don't require all of that now. It returns a new page. So what we are essentially doing is we are building this page and then returning in form of route. So by default we have written a page, but it is not loaded yet. So we need to create this page first, then we need to load it into our route, and this route is then pushed to the navigator class. First we create a page by this builder function, we create a route, and then this route is pushed in our navigator stack here. Okay, so let's save this and see if this works or not. I'll explain it to you again if you want to. See, let's wait for 5 seconds. It will go back to the home page. Yeah, see, it came to the home page. So this function is working. I'll explain it again. It creates a new page, push the page into a form of a route, push this route into our navigator stack after 5 seconds. First it waits for 5 seconds. Okay, so now that this splash page design and everything is ready, let's move on to the home page. So we also want this home page to be similar to our splash page in terms of design. So let's copy all of this. Let's paste it here. See if it is working or not. See, this is the new splash page, but we don't want it to like that. We want some different image here. So let's put our image2 here. Image2.jpeg, right? So we put this image2 here, and we also don't want this logo and NIT-A written here. Instead, we want here written be welcome to NIT-A. Welcome to NIT-A. Let's see if it is working or not. Wait for 5 seconds. Yeah, see, our new page is created. This text should be in white so it's better visible. So text style by default also has a property called color, and we can give this a colors.white. You see, welcome to NIT-A is quite visible here. Let's also have an app bar. Every home page has an app bar. It's very simple. You can see this scaffold widget already has an app bar property here. We just need to provide it one. And by default, app bar takes a form of app bar. So we have an app bar here, and we just need to provide it. So let's see if it's working or not. Okay, so yeah, we got our app bar. If we give it a title here, it will just give it a title. Let's give it a title home, and yeah, it will work. Title is also a widget, so we need to provide it a complete text. So yeah, now it should show say home there, and our task is complete. See, everything is working just as we expected it to. So while there were shorter ways, like there just needed to do some changes here and you would have your splash screen ready, but I wanted you to learn how to make this, how different things works in Flutter. By for example, we learned how to design the UI in Flutter, we learned how to wait, and we learned the properties of the navigator class, how to navigate between the pages. So I think this longer tutorial was for your learning purposes, and I hope you understood this. Any doubts you have, you can just mention it in the group section of DCC. And also you have till 2 p.m. tomorrow to submit this task. So I hope you will be able to do it now and maintain your streak. So yeah, one more thing I wanted to tell you is that while while making the zip file, while making the uploading your code to the Google Drive, you need to do Flutter Clean, so that I'll tell you why I'm doing this. Because if you go here now and if you see this, the size of this file, it's quite big. Right now it's 43 MB, but sometimes it get bigger up to 500 MBs or like that. So you don't want that. For that, just type this Flutter Clean. It will delete all the builds, and you will have the space of like 600 kbs. So don't worry, don't worry if you see these red lines. That means you just need to type flutter pub get, and your code will be back to normal. So yeah, that's how. Now after you have done this, you need to upload this file to the Google Drive, make the working video of your solution, showing that how it is working, and then upload it to the Google Drive. Make sure that the access to the folder is seen for all, and then upload this to the website. I'm sure you know how, but let me show you again. Just go here, select Android development, choose the day, and upload your diagram link here, and we'll review your submission and grade you accordingly, and see you on the leaderboard. Thank you.